Namo Buddhaya. Welcome to another video. In today's video, I'm going to be answering a question from the comments. So the question is, please tell us how to be mentally strong. We need it very much. So let's talk about this today. How to be mentally strong and how to develop a strong mindset. Well, first of all, let's take a look at what is a strong mindset is. Now, just take a look at this Dhammapada verse from the Buddha. The Buddha said, Selo yatha ekagano vatena samirati evang ninda pasangsasu nasami janti pandita. As a rock that is unshaken by the storm, so too the wise are unshaken by the praise and the blame. Now, have you seen these big masses of rock? No matter how fast the wind blows, it is not shaken. The Buddha said, same like that rock, the wise people, they are unshaken by the praise and the blame in their life. And that is a strong mindset. So in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you a few tips that you can practice to build up a strong mindset. Tip number 1 is to maintain a stable mindset in ups and downs in life, right? You know, life is like an ocean. Sometimes ocean is calm and quiet and peaceful, and sometimes it is stormy, right? We face ups and downs in life. The Buddha said these are called 8 worldly conditions, attaloka Dhamma. That means praise and blame, gain and loss, fame and disgrace, and pleasure and pain. These are the 8 worldly conditions that we face in our life. Remember these things. So Buddha said, accept these ups and downs in life. Whenever people criticize you, whenever people blame you, whenever you go through tough times in your life, if you can be mindful about your mind and your emotions and your feelings, and not to chase after these emotions and feelings, then you can be more stable in these situations. You can maintain a good emotional balance in these situations. So it is very important to be mindful and to practice the self-awareness in these situations. And also remember, you will not be able to always get the sweet comments and sweet opinions and sweet experiences in your life. Life will give tough times to you. Life will throw lemons at you. So you have to maintain a stable mindset whenever you go through these situations by practicing the mindfulness and the self-awareness. Remember that. Tip number 2 is to build the resilience inside the mind. You know, the resilience means the ability to stand up and bounce back when you go through the adversities and when you go through the challenging situations in your life. To practice this, one thing that you have to know and one thing that you have to understand is that what is in your control and what is not in your control. If you have a good understanding about what is in my control in my life and what is not in my control in my life, right? For an example, if people comes up to you and if they're starting to criticize you, those criticisms, those words that other people speaks about you is not under your control. But what is in your control is your reaction to them. It is always a choice. You can think about this like, should I become angry with this? Should I take this negativity? Should I share this negativity with them and be negative as them? If you can question like that, then you're not ready to take that negativity. And also remember, having a strong mindset does not mean that you're falling down and you're feeling hurt and you're feeling down. Having a strong mindset means you can stand up as soon as possible when you go through these tough situations. You can quickly stand up and you can quickly retrieve back to the normal situations in your life. That is called the resilience. So to practice this, you have to have a good understanding about what is in your control in your life and what is not in your control. The experiences happens to you and the things that people say to you other people's opinions, other people's thoughts about you is not under your control. But all the things that is inside your mind, your opinions about them, your reaction to those experiences, totally under your control. So if something is not under your control, you don't want to worry about it because you cannot make any change about it. But if something is under your control, definitely you can make a change about it. You can change your choice, but not others. So remember that. And also you have to cultivate a problem-solving mindset. If you're easily panicked by the problems, or if you're easily triggered by the problems, then it is not easy to solve the problems, right? But if you can maintain a calm and a peaceful mindset, even when you go through the problems or tough situations in your life, then it is very easy to go into the roots and solve the problems. Sometimes we take the problems as ourselves. Like we think, we are the anger, I am this problem, why is this happening to me, right? Remember, everything that happens to you will be impermanent. It is not a permanent thing, right? It will be changed one day. So what do you have to do? Keep that problem aside and try to dive into the roots of that problem. Ask from yourself, why this thing happened to me, right? What is the reason for this, right? What is the real reason for this? Where did I make the mistakes? And go to that problem, go to the root, and then you can solve that problem. That is how you build up a problem-solving mindset. And finally, tip number 3, last but not least, you have to practice a mindset of self-love and self-compassion. Remember, if you're loving yourself, if you truly love yourself, you're not going to take other people's negativity with you, right? You're not ready to take other people's negativity with you. Whatever the thing that comes up to you, whatever the person comes up to you and like bring their negativity with you, you say, well, I'm not going to take this negativity with me. I want to be peaceful. I want to love myself. I truly love myself. Therefore, I'm not ready to take your negativity. I'm not sharing this negativity with you. That is called self-love and self-compassion, right? To practice this, you can add up a simple practice that you can do it daily, right? When you get up early in the morning, just sit on your bed and think, no matter what happens during the day, I am going to love myself. I'm not going to take any negativity from this world, right? I'm going to empty my bin and I'm going to take a new bin to this world, right? Do you know if you've kept all the bad things and trash in your bin for a long time, what will happen? If you're in your trash bin, it will start to smell, no? But if you remove every single day all the trash in your bin and make it make it a clean place, then it's very easy to live. It's very easy to be peaceful within. So practice the self-compassion and self-love to build a strong mindset. Some people think that the people who are easily lose their temper, some people think that people who show their toughness and rudeness, they have this strong mindset. But no, anger and showing this negativity is not a sign of strength. It's a sign of weakness, right? If you are easily triggered by people, if you're easily triggered by the people's reactions, then it's not a strong mindset. The strong mindset is the mindset that is not disturbed by the ups and downs in your life. So practice these simple steps, right? Build a stable mindset, make your mind a resilient one, and finally, love yourself more than any other person in this world. When you practice these steps, you can build up a mindset that is unshaken by the ups and downs in your life. So I wish you all, may all of you find the happiness in your life. Namo Buddhaya. Still, I can remember this incident. When I was little, when I was at school, one of my teachers came to our noisy classroom and she asked from us, do you know why you have given 2 ears and 1 mouth? Then she said, the reason why we have given 2 ears and 1 mouth is to talk less and to listen more. Ladies and gentlemen, when we deal with people in our relationship life, in your family life, in your workspace, if you have this quality of active listening, that can help you in many ways. This quality can help you in many ways. Okay? Now, so many people come to our temple and they talk with the monks with their problems and about their family problems, the problems in the workspace. And there's one thing that they all say, and that is, they say, they are not listening to me. They are not willing to pay attention to me. They cannot understand me. That is one thing that they say. So if you have the art of active listening, if you practice the art of active listening, you will be liked by many people, right? People always like to talk with someone who is paying more attention to them, right? If you consider about the Buddha, Buddha was a great listener. At one time, one man comes up to the Buddha and he starts insulting him, right? He starts blaming him. All through that incident, the only thing that Buddha did was he listened to that person, right? He paid a good attention to that person. And in another time, one lady comes with her son died on her hand, and she was wailing and she was lamenting in front of the Buddha. And the only thing that he did was, the Buddha did was, he paid attention to that lady's suffering, right? He listened to that lady's suffering. So if you can practice this art of active listening, if you can listen more and talk less, people will start to like you. Remember that. For an example, if you come up to me, right? If you wanted to talk about a problem that you are having in your life, and from the beginning of the conversation, if I started to give you instructions and give you the advice and my opinions about that problem, what would you feel? You will start to think like, this monk cannot understand me. He's not willing to pay attention to me. He's not willing to listen to me. So practice this art of active listening. So how can we practice the listening? Well, the Buddha said that all the words that we speak from our mouth is pre-processed in our mind. That means we think first all these words and then we put it into our mouth and we speak. So if we can be mindful about what we think, what is going on in our mind, then it is very easy to control what you speak. And then it is very easy to know when to speak and when not to speak. So this practice is called, being mindful about the thoughts is called Chittanupassana in Buddhism, right? For that, the only thing that we have to do is like just sit in a quiet place and just watch our thoughts, what comes to our mind. We don't want to react with that thought. We don't want to chase behind that thought. Just identify the thought as just a thought. That is one practice that you can practice to be a good listener. And also, there's another way to practice this listening ability is to engage in conversations and try to listen more to that person. So in the next conversation that you're having, try this out. Go to someone, and if they wanted to talk with you, just from the beginning of the conversation, tell it to yourself that I'm going to listen to this person more. I'm going to pay attention to this person more. That is one way of paying and showing your love and affection to the person that is in front of you, right? That is why lending a good ear and listening to someone and sharing their suffering or problems with them is one way of showing your compassion and love towards them. Okay, so in the next conversation, when you go through that, just listen more to them. Let them put out what is in their mind. And when they go silent, and then you have to ask some more questions. Tell me, how did you do that, right? How it happened, right? Tell me more about the details that happened. Then they will be more interested in talking with you, and they will start to like you and love you. When you practice this, then you will get used to this active listening. Okay? And also remember, do not listen to someone just to reply to them or just to give your opinion to them. Always listen to people to understand about their situation, to understand who the person behind these words, and to understand the intention behind these words. When you do that, then you will become an active and a good listener, and then you will be liked by many people. So that is all about the active listening. Be mindful about your thoughts and listen more than you talk. Keep that in your mind. Namo Buddhaya. Namo Buddhaya. Welcome to another video. Today, let's talk about how can we practice Buddhism. Should you become a Buddhist, or should you convert to a Buddhist to practice Buddhism? This is what we are going to talk about today. Well, first of all, you have to know and you have to realize what Buddhism is. Buddhism doesn't have much of a religious aspects. It is more of, Buddhism should be understood as a practice or a way of life. Okay, so in that sense, everyone can practice Buddhism. It is open to everyone. There is no one to force to practice Buddhism, or there is no one to force you to believe certain things. So it's quite of a free practice, and you have the independence and you have this freedom to practice Buddhism and practice whatever you feels okay, right? If you like to practice meditations, then it's okay, right? You can practice meditations. If you want to practice generosity, this is one of the basic Buddhist practice. If you want to practice generosity, you can practice that. Okay, and also if you want to practice the precepts or living the life in a disciplined way, practice the morals, then you can do it. So it is free and it has this freedom to practice. So you don't want to convert to a Buddhist. You don't want to become a Buddhist. In fact, in the Buddha's time, there was no person called Buddhists. Okay, there were no people called Buddhists. Only there was people, and also there were people who practiced the Buddha's teachings or Buddha's path. Okay, so this is what you have to understand. You don't want to become a Buddhist. There is no process of conversion. You can practice, and it is free to everyone. It is open to everyone. Buddha's Dhamma, this is the Buddha's teachings. Dhamma has this quality called ehipassiko. Buddha says that, come and see, right? Come, learn about this, and realize and see this. See the reality of the life. This is what Buddha says. So it is open to everyone. Anyone can practice Buddhism. So there is no exceptions to practice Buddhism. Anyone can do this. So this is what I have to share today. So practice the Buddha's teachings and live a peaceful and a wise life. Namo Buddhaya. Namo Buddhaya. You know what? Today we are going to have a storm to our monastery, right? It's a big storm incoming. And the sky is getting gloomy and gloomy little by little. But you know what? A few hours ago, the whole monastery was shining and it was bathed with sunlight, right? So the weather changes so rapidly. The nature changes so rapidly. So as our life. In life, some days we have storms, right? Sometimes we are very happy. Sometimes we celebrate our life like shiny days, right? Like sunny days. But sometimes it becomes gloomy. All of a sudden it becomes gloomy. It becomes so moody, right? So we feel down, we feel terrible, like we feel depressed, right? And for some days, there's nothing special. like the empty sky, right? So this is life. It always changes, okay? So today I'm going to talk about this one habit that we all have been through and that can affect us in many ways in our life, and that is the habit of overthinking, right? You know, we all have been through that situation that we have overanalyzed situations, and we have expected worst case scenarios, and we have kept on thinking about certain things, what will happen in the future, what has happened in the past. That is very painful, and it steals our peacefulness in our life. So in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you few tips that can manage the habit of overthinking and to stop the habit of overthinking. So let's dive into the video. So the first thing that we have to know before doing any kind of thing is to identify what triggers you, what makes you overthink, right? Because without identifying and without knowing what makes you overthink, you cannot deal with it, you cannot manage it, right? So for people, it may be different ways of triggers. Sometimes people have some fears about talking with other people, right? People have fears about like traveling alone, right? Sometimes people have a fear about what other people think of me, okay? So it is different from one person to another. So the first thing is to identify what makes you overthink, what triggers you. Once you know it, write it down on a paper, okay? Okay, this is what makes me overthink. This is what making me troubles, okay? That is the first step, identifying what triggers you to overthink. And then the next step, the second step, is to be mindful about that trigger and that emotion, okay? Because once you identify your trigger, right, what makes you overthink, you can be mindful about it, you can identify it. Once those thoughts comes to your mind, like maybe a fear, maybe like a worry, maybe like a sadness, when it comes to your mind, just if you practice this mindfulness, you can catch that thought, you can identify that thought. Now I'm going to worry, now I'm worrying, right? Now I have this fear in my mind. Because when you become mindful, you understand about it and you know about it, you become aware of it, then you will have the power to control it, right? Always remember, you cannot control anything that you don't know about and you're not aware about, right? So the second thing is to be aware and to be mindful about your thought. This is one thing that stuck in my mind for a long time, that a thought is just a thought until we give the power to control it ourselves. Okay, so what we have to know, understand the thought as just a thought, right? Don't give the power to control it, right? Don't judge the thought, don't try to stop the thought, right? Just identify it as just a simple thought, as any other thought. Okay, that is the second step. And the third step, you can challenge yourself. You can challenge your mind. Ask from your mind. Whenever you catch yourself overthinking, ask from your mind, is this real? Am I worrying about a real thing or a realistic thing? Is that going to happen in reality? So when you think about that, you will come across these conclusions. No, it's not going to happen. Why am I worrying about it? Right? Why am I thinking about it? I don't want to do that, right? It will steal my peacefulness. Okay, so when you think like that, you know what is going inside your mind. So the whole point and the whole secret about stopping this overthinking pattern is to know what is going inside your mind. Okay, that is one thing that you can do to challenge your thoughts. And then the next step is to take action. There is no any other remedy for all these problems, all these mental restrictions that you have in your mind other than taking actions. Okay? I don't suggest you to take big actions. What you have to do is to take small step, to do little things that you feel like a fear and a worry about things. Okay, just go for it and take action. If you have a fear of talking with a person, just for a little time go and talk with him. Plan it and go and talk with him. If you have a fear of traveling alone, just try it a little bit. Okay, it will make you more confident about it. So the fourth step is to take action. Okay, and then the final step, if you feel like your overthinking pattern, your habit is troubling you and it is restricting you and it is holding you back from doing great things and becoming great, then you have to seek for help, right? Remember, you don't have to travel this journey alone. You have to seek for the help from trusted people. Maybe your trusted friend, it may be one of your family friends, maybe one of your relations, maybe your parents, maybe a counselor. Seek for help, right? Don't be shy and don't be afraid to ask for help and to reveal what is going inside your mind. When you reveal yourself and when you seek for the help, always there are people who can help you. Okay, so you are not alone in this world. Even 73%, you know that 73% of the young people in the age range of 25 to 35 suffer from chronic overthinking. So you are not alone in this world. Okay, so what we have to do is to first thing to identify what triggers you, second thing to be mindful, and then to challenge your thoughts and take action. And if all those things does not work, seek for the help, and always the help will be given to you. So these are the few things and the little things that you can practice in your life to overcome the pattern and the habit of overthinking. So I wish all the best in your journey of overcoming the overthinking patterns and living a life more productive and more happy. Namo Buddhaya. Once in the Buddhist time, there lived a woman named Kisa Gautami. She had a son whom she loved with all of her life. But unfortunately, one day her son died because of an incurable disease. Kisa was so sad she did not wanted to accept her son's death. So she carried her son's body all around the village, finding if anyone could bring her son back to life. At first, people tried to help her. They said, Kisa, you have to accept your son's death. You have to make some arrangement for his funeral. But Kisa wasn't ready to accept her son's death. She said, no, he's not dead. The only reason he's not talking and he's not smiling is because he has a disease. So she wasn't ready to accept it. So she went from one village to another, finding if anyone could bring her son back to life. Then she met with this old and wise man. And this wise man said, Kisa, I cannot help you in this situation. I cannot help you in this problem. But I know one person who could help you. Do you see that monastery over there? You go to that monastery and you meet the Buddha. Maybe he can help you in this situation. So Kisa ran to the monastery and fell in front of the Buddha and begged and said, Oh my Lord, my son has fallen sick. He's not talking. He's not smiling like early. Please, cure my son's disease. Then the Buddha listened to Kisa's tragic story and said, Kisa, I can help you. Kisa was delighted to hear that. Then Kisa said, "Oh Lord, what should I do? Tell me anything, I will do it for this." Then the Buddha said, "Kisa, you need to find a medicine for your son. Go and find a handful of mustard from a family where no one has ever died." Kisa thought that this was easy to find. So she ran to the village and went to the first house and said, "I need a handful of mustard from you. Please give it to me. By the way, has anyone died in this family?" Then people said, "Oh, I'm sorry. My father died yesterday." Then she went to the next house. The reply was, "My son died last year." Then she went to the next house. Then they said, "Oh, my uncle died yesterday." This was the reply that all she got from every house. Then she started to think, every time I go to a house, I heard this word, death, died, he left us, he passed away. Maybe death is a common experience for all of us. Maybe I cannot take my son's life back to normal. Then she went to the Buddha. Then the Buddha said, "Kisa, you've learned a valuable lesson today. Death is a common experience for all of us. The only thing that we can do is only to accept it. So you have to live your life in a meaningful way. Now let go of your sorrow and sadness." So Kisa let go of her sorrow and sadness, and she started to live a meaningful life from that day onwards. She had a new understanding about the death and life from that day onwards. So we all have to remember that death is a natural part of life, and losing loved ones is a natural part of life. We all have to go through loss and grief of our loved ones at some points in our life. That is the reality of this world. We cannot deny it, but we can do something better to make us feel better. That is to cherish the memories of our loved ones when they lived with us. Okay, so when we do that, we can find the peace and we can move forward with hope and gratitude. So let's live our life in a meaningful way about the death and life. Namo Buddhaya. Namo Buddhaya. Welcome everyone to another video. Today, let's talk about something that is really, really important for all of our lives. Now, if you want to be good at anything that you want to be good at, let's say if you're studying or if you're meditating or if you are someone who is practicing the spiritual path, what is one quality? What is that one quality that you have to have in your life to be a master of it? If you're studying, what is that one quality that you have to have in your life to be a master? That is called consistency. Have you ever thought about why we are so good at bad habits or bad things? Bad things like anger, getting angry all the time, or feeling jealousy all the time, or bad things like procrastination or laziness. Why we are so good at these things? We are so good at these things because we have done it over a long period of time continuously, right? If you start getting angry or if you start losing your temper again and again every single day, what will happen? You will be good at it, okay? If you are procrastinating the things that you want to do, then you will be a good procrastinator. So one main important quality to be good at anything in this life or to have a habit to our life is consistency. That is why we are so good at bad things. So we can use this theory or this consistency for our own benefit, right? If you're someone who is studying, right, You have to do it every single day, again and again, repeatedly, even in the days where you don't feel like doing it, because that is the hardest part and that is the most important part. When you feel like not doing it, but if you keep doing it, if you keep moving forward, if you keep going through it, then you will be able to make a good habit of it. And once you become good at it, or once you make a habit in it, then it will be so easy for you. So that is why our great teacher, Supreme Buddha, said that when you practice the spiritual path, right, when you practice meditations, do it again and again and again. Do not do it like here and there, once in a week, once in a blue moon. When you do that, and when you expect more results, you will never get it. So that is why Buddha said, Mettaya bhikkhave cheto vimuktya asevitaya bhavitaya bahuli kataya. Buddha said, when you practice the mind of loving kindness, this is about practicing the loving kindness meditation and mind of loving kindness. Asevitaya bhavitaya bahuli kataya. That means you have to use that mind of loving kindness. You have to do it again and again, consistently, bahuli kataya. Use it again and again. When you do that, you will be good at it. And the loving kindness, or the love, or the patience, or the compassion will be a part of your life. Okay? So when you meditate, when you practice spiritual practice, or if you're studying, or if you're in a profession, if you are developing a skill, then what is the most important thing to have in your life to be good at it? The consistency. So do it on the days that you don't feel like doing it also, right? When you do that, when you move forward through it, then you will be a master of it. But here's the most important thing that you have to have. Do not judge your progress in your life, right? We are so busy to have quick progress, quick results, because we are used to this instant world, right? We live in an instant world, right? We can find everything we want in our mobile phone, right? If you want to Google something, instantly you get the results. So we are used to this instant world. But when it comes to the spiritual practice, when it comes to the soft skills or developing the skills that you want, it is not that easy and it is not that instant. You have to do it little by little, and you have to expect little progress from one session. So do not judge your progress. Do not judge your improvements. The most important thing is to do it every single day. Keep moving, and then you will be a master of anything that you want to be a master of. Okay? So I hope you got some idea about the consistency and the value of it. So keep practicing and keep doing these things. So I wish you all, may all of you be well and happy, and may all of you live in peace forever. Namo Buddhaya. So many people think that when it is said in Buddhism that let go of attachment or let go of the desires, they say, oh, the Buddha said, let go of all the things. One of the false complaints that given to the Buddhism is that the Buddha said, let go of everything and you will be happy. Buddha never said such thing, right? When we understand the attachment, how we understand is something, it is referred to an object, okay? So we always think that when we need to let go of the attachment, if we need to let go of the attachment, we need to let go of a thing. Well, it is wrong. Why? Because let's say, okay, if the attachment was an object, if we let go of that, okay, then we will be able to completely let go of that thing and completely not think about it. But see, so many people lose things, you know. They have to let go of things and still they are thinking about the things that they lost. So the attachment is not always an object, right? In fact, we can't completely let go of things, right? As humans, we need things. We have to use things, right?
There's a funny saying that says, your human body is always touching something, right? You can't get rid of this, right? When you're standing, you're touching the ground, right? When you're standing and when you're sitting down, wherever you go, your clothes are touching you. If you want to live untouched by anything, then you have to float in the space, right? Naked. But here's the thing. Even though you do that, you can't completely let go of things. Why? Because your body is something. It is an object. So you can't let go of things. So you understand that when we say letting go of attachment, it doesn't mean letting go of things. You can be with things, you can use things, you can have whatever the thing that you want and still not be attached to. So I want to share with you what it really means to let go of the attachment. This is what Buddha meant by letting go of the attachment. The Buddha says, they are not sensual pleasures, the pretty things in the world. A person's sensual pleasure is a lustful intention. The pretty things remain just as they are in the world, but the wise remove the desire for them. So understand, Buddha said that pretty things remain the same in the world. Let the pretty things, let the nice things and the beautiful things remain in this world the same. Let it be there. Don't disturb them, right? Don't destroy them. What we need to really let go is let go of the desire. Remove the desire for them. Now, when we say that, the people understand that, okay, if I let go of the desire, will I be able to enjoy that? Well, understand, when you let go of the desire only, you can truly enjoy that. Right? For an example, desire means trying to keep it for yourself, right? Trying to hold on to it and not letting it to change and you don't like to see the things change, right? You try to make it mine, you try to make it yourself and keep it for yourself. That is what desire does, right? When you do that, what we do is we destroy the beauty of things. For an example, this is a nice story that it is my personal experience, right? When I was at home, I got the chance to go to, when I was at home, I went a lot of hikes, right? I got the chance to go to this beautiful mountain in Sri Lanka. And we were on the top of the mountain and it was so beautiful. The whole area was covered with mist and we can see, from time to time, we can see faraway places, right? It was so beautiful, so stunning, right? And then I wanted to take a picture of this. I wanted to keep this memory in mind, right? I wanted to take this in mind. So this is desire, right? So what I did was I was searching for my camera. And while I was searching, right, it took a few minutes to search. The whole area got covered with mist. And I could not take the picture. And I lost the ability, few seconds, few minutes to enjoy the surrounding. That is what happens to us. When we try to make things ourselves, right, when we try to hold tightly to the things, we destroy the beauty. There's a nice story that I read recently about this. The story says that a boy found a beautiful and a cute rabbit on the road, right? So the boy fell in love with this rabbit. He wanted to take this rabbit home. So what he did, he grabbed the rabbit and he grabbed the rabbit so tightly just because that the grip was so tight, right? He was grabbing and holding the rabbit so tightly. The rabbit was so delicate, the rabbit died on the arms of that boy. The story says that when we hold on to things too much and make things like myself, and not letting things to change, and when the inherent nature of things is the changing, we destroy the beauty of things. What we do when we let go of the desire is we let the things be the things, right? And we enjoy the things as they are. When it changes, we see the change. We observe the change and we understand the change. Why? Because we have realized that everything is subject to change. So when you let go of the desire, that doesn't mean that you can't enjoy. Truly, you can enjoy only when you let go of this holding on tightly and not letting things, not expecting things not to change, right? So understand that when we say let go of the attachment, it is not about a thing. It is about this expectations to things to be permanent, and we let go of the desire for them so that we can enjoy this beauty of the world as it is. So keep this little idea in your mind. Namo Buddhaya. One of the most common questions that most of the Buddhist people ask from Buddhist monks is that they ask, I did this action, is it a sin? And they say, like, if I did this action, if I do this, will it be a sin? So it turns out that sin is a big concern. People have a big concern about sin. So from today's video, we're going to be discussing about the perspective of sin according to Buddhism. Do and should Buddhists believe in sin? So first of all, before understanding do and should Buddhists believe in sin, we must understand what sin is. The word sin was originated from Old English word sin, which spelled as S-Y-N-N. And it also has the roots of this Old Norse word sind, S-Y-N-D. Collectively, the word sin describes or defines the transgression of the divine law. That means going against divine law. Especially in Christianity and most of the monotheistic religions, sin is often understood as going against the divine commandments, right? There is an all-powerful, almighty, and all-knowing deity and God, and this God makes these commandments and laws, and if someone goes against these, and if someone goes against these laws and break those laws, that person is called a sinner. And the people who commit sins, right, the people who do sins, they will be punished by the Almighty God, right? That is the common framework of sin according to the monotheistic religions. Now let's turn into the Buddhism, the perspective about sin according to Buddhism. Well, in Buddhism, the word sin is not used. There is no any place that Buddha used the word sin, because sin requires an all-powerful, almighty deity, right? As there is no statement of all-powerful, almighty deity, and there is no any involvement of deities, all-powerful deity in Buddhism, the morality according to Buddhism is governed by, not by the sin, but by the karma. Karma can be understood as the natural law of cause and effect, right? It is something like gravity. Like if you throw something into air, because there is gravity, it will eventually fall down as a result of throwing that, as a result of the gravity, right? In the same way, the Buddha explains, if you do something with evil intentions and negative intentions like hatred, anger, delusion, and greed, these intentions, right, the actions that were led by these intentions will lead to negative consequences, because in the beginning the cause and the intention was negative. If the cause is negative, then the consequence is negative. And if some actions were led by positive intentions like compassion and kindness and empathy and wisdom, these actions will lead to positive consequences, right? So it's simply like this. If you plant a seed, right, you will get the fruits according to that seed. Let's say you plant a mango seed, you will get mangoes, right? You plant a grape seed, you will get grapes. In the same way, the Buddha says, if you do the things with evil intentions, right, hatred, anger, delusion, the suffering follows that person. And if someone does actions with positive intentions, kindness and compassion, wisdom, then the happiness will follow. So it is simply how the world works, how the universe works. Okay, so the karma is always, we need to understand, karma is not just the action, karma is the intention behind our action. Okay, so according to the law of karma, when a person do certain kind of actions with certain kind of intentions, these kind of actions will lead to the consequences that eventually that person will experience, right? And one of the major differences between sin and karma is that in sin it requires the forgiveness from a deity, forgiveness from the divine, right? In karma, karma is something that you must work through yourself. And there is no any statement of any concept of being forgiven by a deity in karma, right? Instead, you must take the responsibility of your own actions and you must work through yourself and change your behavior. So that is how we understood the karma. So then you may ask, will the word sin applies to Buddhism? In the sense of this monotheistic religious meaning, it does not apply. So we need to understand the moral ethic. The morality according to Buddhism is governed by the actions, the intentional actions of each and every individual. So this is the main explanation about the karma and sin according to Buddhism. So I hope you got some light about the sin and the karma. So I wish you all happiness and peacefulness and good health. Namo Buddhaya. To be happy is every living being's right in this world. Everything that we do, everything that we say, why we are doing them, we do that to be happy. Just ask from yourself, why am I doing what am I doing? You can answer to yourself. You will find that the reason why I do everything in life to make myself happy. If I ask from you, why do you wake up early in the morning and just prepare some food and go out to work? To make yourself happy and to make others happy, isn't it? Yes. You gain happiness by making others happy as well. That you have to remember, right? So there are two types of happinesses in this world. The first type of happiness is called the material happiness, right? And also the other type of happiness is called the spiritual happiness. To call it a good life, to call it a perfect life, one must achieve these two types of happinesses in his life. One must experience both of these happinesses in their life, right? So from this video, I would like to share a wonderful teaching from the Buddha that explains about what are the types of happinesses that a person who is living in a household life, a family life, must achieve. Now, according to Buddhism, there are two types of lives. The first type of life is called the household life. That means the people who are living in a family life, right? Maintaining a family, living in a house, engaging in material pleasures and all the stuff, right? A household life. That means you, right? And also, there is this other type of life. It is called the monk's life, right? Which we can call them the homelessness life. That means we leave our houses, we leave our families and become monks, right? So that we no longer own a house. We no longer own a family. We no longer maintain a family, right? So the ones who renunciate the household life, the ones who leave the household life, they seek a higher kind of happiness, right? That doesn't mean that they don't seek any kind of happiness. We as monks, why we become monks is to seek the spiritual happiness. Now, when you become a monk, it doesn't mean you totally deny seeking the material happiness, right? But for a monk, there must be a limit for seeking the material happiness, because as living beings, we can't totally deny seeking material pleasure. As living beings, we must consume some sort of material pleasures in this world. But that seeking, that consumption of material pleasure must not disturb the peace and the spiritual happiness that a monk is seeking, right? So for monks, there are limitations for material happiness, okay? But it is less of the material happiness and more of the spiritual happiness. So in this teaching of the Buddha focuses on household life, a householder, a person who is living a family life. To call that life a perfect life, a good life, the Buddha says that there are 4 types of happinesses that a householder must achieve in their life, right? The first type of happiness, the Buddha called it Ati Sukha. What is it? Ati Sukha. Ati Sukha can be translated into English as the happiness of ownership. Now, what do you mean by the happiness of ownership? Buddha explains the happiness of ownership as one must work hard, put his time and energy and strive and earn money righteously in the correct way, right? He must earn money, he must earn wealth in the righteous way. Now, what do you mean by in the righteous way? Is by you should earn money without harming anyone, without harming yourself and without harming the other people, without harming the society, right? If you earn money without harming anyone, that is the righteous way of earning money. Now, Buddha said, as a householder, you must be happy and you must enjoy earning money, right? Buddha was someone who did not say that you should not pursue happiness. You should not pursue material happiness. The Buddha said, if you are a householder, you must do that. That is your duty, right? So the Buddha said, strive hard, work hard, put your time and energy to what you're working on, and earn money righteously. That is a happiness that you can gain, right? When you have enough money to your life, then you can be happy about thinking that I own this wealth. This is my wealth. That is sort of a happiness that one can gain, right? That is the first type of happiness that Buddha said a householder must achieve in their life at some point in their life, right? That is the first one. The second type of happiness that Buddha taught for householders to achieve is called Bhoga Sukha. The Bhoga Sukha can be translated into English as the happiness of enjoyment. Now, first you earn money, right? Now you spend money and enjoy it in the correct way, right? The Buddha says that you have to spend money in a way that you should not harm yourself and you should not harm the other people as well, in the righteous way, right? So that when you spend money doing good things like helping people, helping your parents, with your money, with the money that you righteously earned, and when you spend that money on the people who you love, right, to make them happy, it gives you a happiness, right? It is a great happiness that one can achieve. That you have to achieve in your life. Okay, so the second type of happiness the Buddha taught to achieve is called the Bhoga Sukha, the happiness of enjoyment. The third type of happiness that Buddha taught us to enjoy in the life is called the happiness of freedom from debt. That we called Anana Sukha. Anana Sukha is the happiness of freedom from debt. Now, when you are free from debt, let's say you don't have any loans or any debt to pay, right? You're financially free. Then how much freedom that one can feel, right? You feel freedom, you feel a happiness that I'm no longer in debt to anything, right? I don't have any loans to pay, I don't have any debt to pay, so I'm financially free. That is a happiness that a householder must achieve in their life, right? That is a great happiness that one must achieve. The freedom, financial freedom, right? This is the third type of happiness. And then the fourth type of happiness, this is the most important thing. This is the most valuable happiness that a householder must achieve in their life, according to the Buddha. Buddha said, the fourth type of happiness is called Anavajja Sukha. Anavajja Sukha means the happiness from blameless life. Now, what do you mean by a blameless life? The Buddha says that you have to do things, you have to say things, you have to live your life in a way that you do everything with a good heart, with a good mind, with a wholesome heart, right? When you spend your life as a good-hearted person, as a good person, as a wholesome-hearted person, right? It gives you a bigger happiness, bigger enjoyment, thinking about who you are. That is the most important thing, because all the other material happinesses, right? All the other three material happinesses, it can give you happiness, right? I don't say that it cannot give you happiness, but if you did not have this happiness, anavajjasukha, if your heart is complaining who you are, what you do, right? If your heart is regretting about who you are, then the other things doesn't matter, right? What matters the most is how you live in this life, right? At the end of our life, the most important thing that we can be happy about is how we live this life, how much love we gave to other people, right? How much we helped to other people, how righteously and how correctly we lived our life. So the Buddha said, you must achieve this happiness as well, right? So these are the 4 happinesses that a householder, one who is living in a family life, spending a family life, must achieve. So I hope this video and this teaching from the Buddha gave you a little light to your life. So I wish you all, may all of you be able to achieve all of these happinesses in this very life. Namo Buddhaya.